My interview with Maria Griego from the New Mexico Center on Law and Poverty continues with a discussion about the governor, the legislature, and judges, and what they are or are not doing for our tenants here in New Mexico. So you're asking about hoping that the governor will create a fund, but wouldn't that have been part of this legislative session and the budget and everything? I mean, was that created this year, or would she have to shift money around to be able to accomplish that?
So yeah, good question, Steve. So there was a really big push during the special legislative session, which happened last month. It was a big package around housing. So it included a rental assistance fund, like I just mentioned, where landlords and or tenants could apply to have the rent paid for tenants who are unable to pay. There was a bill on an eviction moratorium, so a legislative moratorium that says that landlords cannot evict their tenants for inability to pay for at least the duration of the pandemic, and I think a few months after that. And then there was also a bill to repeal really outdated legislation that prohibits rent control. So right now, cities and municipalities cannot enact rent control ordinances because of this.
Yes. This is something that is a growing issue, especially in the larger, more expensive cities in our state, and I'm glad someone was taking that up. Did any of these measures pass through both chambers of the legislature and get signed by the governor?
They did not. Unfortunately, the governor sort of made it clear that those were not going to be a priority during the special session.
Wow.
And we were really disappointed because
right, because things are happening right now.
Right.
It's happening now. It's not happening in January.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Okay.
Exactly.
Well,
it's an emergency. It's an emergency.
It is an emergency.
And Steve, I don't know if you know this, but New Mexico was already leading the nation in the increase in homelessness before the pandemic. So between 2018 and 2019, we had the highest increase in homelessness. It was around 27% between 2018 and 2019. And then the highest increase in chronic homelessness, so over 50% increase in chronic homelessness. And we also have really shocking numbers in terms of the numbers of New Mexicans who are cost burdened, meaning they pay more. I think it's more than 30% of their income on rent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right. Because we're a low pay state. So
right.
even though, I look at the rents in Los Angeles or whatever, and I want to. I nearly have a heart attack, but it's true that because we don't pay so much for work here, that even our lower rents still are a large burden. And so this is what I'm seeing is that if none of this gets resolved, then more evictions are going to happen, and that's just the paperwork. But I know that there will be people maybe who will not even show up to court to take care of themselves, which means they could immediately be evicted. And we've got evictions stacking up, just waiting for that order that we're no longer under a health emergency, and hundreds, if not thousands of people are going to lose their home, or their place of residence, I should say. Does that sound correct to you?
That's right. That's right. We are just waiting for that avalanche of evictions, and there's no comprehensive plan on a state level to prevent the an increase of thousands of New Mexicans who will be homeless.
Obviously, there's some legislators who understood the emergent nature of what's going on here, and I'm amazed that our governor just didn't think it was as big of a deal. So, Maria, is there anything else you'd like to tell us on this topic that we didn't mention?
I think for those who are concerned, and I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're concerned about what's going to happen in our state. I think, if you can call the governor's office and let her know that housing should be a priority right now, I think that's an important step. we have to let the governor know that we as New Mexicans are concerned about our fellow community members and don't want to see that huge increase in homelessness. And not only are folks going to be out on the streets, but if we have a huge increase in homelessness, the numbers of those with the virus are just going to continue to increase. The more folks can't stay home and avoid, gathering with large crowds, homeless shelters will be overrun. So I think it's really important to let the governor know that you care about housing. The other thing, and I've said this before, but definitely show up to court and make sure that you have evidence. If you're unable to pay rent, it can even be your own statement, but just make sure that you get that in front of the judge, that they know that you are unable to pay your rent right now. And then, if you get into court between now and July 25th, you should ask, on the record while you're in the hearing, ask whether your landlord gets any type of federal subsidies or whether their mortgage is federally backed, because unfortunately there's been no concerted effort to require courts to screen to see if those cases should even be filed. So if a landlord does get federal subsidies, their case shouldn't even be filed, but there's no screening. So those cases are still coming through. And if no one raises it, then the judge might still rule to evict the person.
So, as usual, our laws are designed to protect property over people, it seems like in this situation, or investments over people, which, I know some people make their income off of doing this. This is their livelihood, but it doesn't seem right. I've said that, that's fine. Landlords should get covered during this time because of their tenants not being able to pay. I mean, I get it. So, they should be part of the chain that gets reimbursed by some government institution so that basically everything's on the level and there's no panic, there's no forcefulness, and life can continue while we're under this situation. But I guess that's for another day. Maria Griego from the New Mexico Center of Law and Poverty, thank you so much for being on the Duopoly Report.
Thank you for having me, Steve. It was a pleasure.
So there you go. Please take advantage of the resources in the links below in the description part of this video. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, had a little different look. I'm revamping my studio. I'm upgrading the equipment. I've got a new logo over here, and there's more to come. We're really gearing up this channel. It's going to get a lot more serious, and we're going to put out more content. And as always, please, if you can, subscribe to my Patreon page and donate. There's some suggested donations per month, but you can donate however much you want per month. Also, use the Brave browser, and you can tip me through it when you see the little Brave symbol with the blue check on it. And also, just like, share, and subscribe my videos. So you subscribe, click the notification bell, like the video, share it. It helps YouTube to advertise my video out to other people. One of my biggest videos that I had 3 weeks ago on the city council meeting is still getting hits because so many people watched it and they shared it. And so YouTube now is telling the whole world to share it. You are an instrumental part of making this channel successful, and I thank you for everything that you do.